Anti-fascist activist Jason Charter was sentenced Monday to 3 years probation, 60 days home detention, $2,600 of restitution, as well as mental health and drug treatment for his role in the attempted toppling of the Andrew Jackson statue outside the White House in 2020. Prosecutors had sought the 3 years probation, but only 45 days of home detention. Charter, who had been described by the Trump administration as the ringleader of Antifa, was able to resolve several cases with a single misdemeanor plea to trespassing on restricted grounds. In doing so, he was able to drop felonies for the Andrew Jackson statue incident, as well as a misdemeanor assault charge for a confrontation with conservative journalist Jack Posobiec, and misdemeanor assault on a police officer charges for a confrontation weeks later on the National Mall. Charter gave his reaction to the sentencing exclusively to News to Share after receiving it while appearing in court virtually.
Okay, so Jason, you were just sentenced to 3 years of probation and 60 days home confinement. Your reaction to what happened today?
Not what I expected, to be completely honest. I expected to walk out of there with probation, which seemed consistent with other people who were charged in this case. I found it appalling to be told that my actions as an activist were aggressive, and that's why I've received all these injuries over time. My drive has never been aggressive. It's been about protection of my community, my friends, and after watching Heather Heyer die in Charlottesville and my friend trying to do life-saving CPR on her, to no avail, unfortunately. To see an act like what happened in Charlottesville when James Fields rammed a car into us, that sticks with you forever. And that made me decide that day that never again. And so whenever there was a cause out there that I believed in, and there are a lot of causes out there that I work on, including anti-imperialism, working with Black Lives Matter groups, working on racial justice reform, criminal justice reform, education reform, environmental reform, voting rights reform, everything that makes this system that we live in so unbearable for most people who are not cis white men. I want to create a world that is for everyone, and I want to do it without losing anyone else. So, yeah, when there was a dangerous situation, I would try to get my people out, and that would sometimes get me hit by a fascist or someone else. But to say that I'm the aggressor is just plain not true. Ford, you filmed videos of me over the years yourself so many times of me being harmed by fascists and by police. I'm not the aggressor like Judge Friedrich claimed. While I thank her for listening to what I had to say, I don't feel she necessarily took it to heart, and she seems to think that I'm on par with the people who tried to take over the country on January 6th. And that really makes me upset, because I don't want to take over this country. Hell, I've run campaign offices that have elected congressmen, senators, governors, local politicians. I've helped pass ballot initiatives. I have done everything and anything there is in politics that you can do, or at least tried to. So I work within the system, and it's frustrating to be told that I'm not doing that I'm being aggressive, that I'm not necessarily doing the right thing, because I'm expressing my First Amendment rights. I was assaulted. Every time I was assaulted was due to a group of people attacking me while doing something nonviolent. It happened at a Friends of Abe meeting where James O'Keefe was speaking, and I was caught filming them undercover. They assaulted me, stole my belongings. Laura Loomer put my ID on Twitter. They JDL attacked me at APAC after putting out a burning Palestinian flag. I was assaulted at the Venezuelan embassy multiple times for just trying to deliver food to activists who were inside the embassy and who were being blockaded by Juan Guaido supporters, who is a fascist who's trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government. So to say that I'm aggressive, it just doesn't make sense. The videos that are out there are the proof. You don't see me throwing punches. And so I don't think the sentence is fair. And there's a possibility we'll try to appeal some of it. The substance abuse thing was really weird as well because there's no evidence of substance abuse. Marijuana use is legal in DC, so I found that to be really weird that I was told I was taking an illicit drug even though it's legalized in DC. And all my other medications are prescribed by a doctor, so I have no problem taking a drug test. But it was really weird for them to impose those restrictions on me. What am I going to do with the next 3 years? I'm going to focus on my education, like I said. I'm going to focus on putting people in Congress who reflect my ideals. I'm probably going to try to find a congressman and a senator to help me pass legislation to actually get rid of that statue that's standing in Lafayette Park, to put it in a museum, to have a plaque that says what he did with the Trail of Tears, committing genocide, as well as the numerous other atrocities he had committed during his life. Because he wasn't a good man, and if we're going to put a statue outside the building that it represents the executive branch of this nation, it should be someone who is above reproach, who is not known for doing anything horrible. And there are many people in our history who have fit that description, who did great things, and I think we need to replace that statue. It's really tough to think about having to sit in here for 60 days. I will say that COVID prepared me for that a bit, I guess, since I haven't been able to go out a lot in the past year due to COVID, and not only that, due to my own injuries. But it's still tough. It's still tough knowing that your freedom isn't yours. And I don't know. It's really, really tough to know that. Because, what is justice? How is this justice? How is this justice in any sense? Because, in my opinion, it should be about reforming a person, not just penalizing them. And to me, this is just penalizing me for being an activist, and for also entering restricted grounds, of course. But that should not equate to giving me this type of sentence. I hope in the future that I will be able to continue my activism even while on probation. I've had a year and a half to reflect on my role as an activist, where I fit in, and I think I'll still be able to do that, and still be able to be an activist, still be able to work on campaigns even during this time period, but also focus on finishing my degree, which I need to do. So I'm going to turn this bad thing into a good thing. I'm going to use this time to make myself a better person and to continue creating a better life for myself.